Hello, we are Geeks Assembled, and today, us guys here and gal, as in Susan, are talking a 1986 movie by John Carpenter, starring Kurt Russell in the lead. We are talking Big Trouble in Little China. Not really a success in the cinema at the time, but over the years it has become a cult movie. It's got a big following. So we'll go around the guys with their opening thoughts and what they have to say about this movie. So where to start? We shall go to Susan and Alex.
Right. There's the mic. Okay. Well, to start off with, I have green eyes. I am supernatural, and welcome to our own Boston version of Chinatown. We have storms here, but they're called nor'easter, bomb cyclone, and hurricane, and that's our thing. And we and our blizzards are intense. Yeah, it's a really good story. San Francisco was really another. The actual Chinatown is actually like a character in this movie, and the Asian cast is fantastic. It's really great, and Kurt Russell was great, and Kim Cattrall was from, I think it's Sex and the City. Later on, she does great, and so yeah, I enjoyed it, and I used to own it on VHS, so quite lovely to see it again. Here's Alex.
Yeah, of course, I like the other character he does, Skip from New York, but I mean, this is a fun movie as well. And, it might be a little bit of stealing a little bit from Indiana Jones, but that's cool. I mean, you've got wonderful characters in here. You've got a lot of actors. You've got a lot of pacing and good pacing. And, it's a fun movie. Of course, I don't know if the ending makes sense, but it's an 80s movie. Most of them don't. But yeah, I mean, it has a great cast, and it's at least trying to be more advanced than some of the stuff you saw in the 70s, and it's fun. I mean, you can tell that Kurt Russell's having a fun time, and that's always good in a movie, when you see somebody having a good time.
Thanks for that.
Back over to you.
Thanks, Susan. Let's move over to Beefhead. Let's see what he has to say.
Good evening, lady and gentlemen. Yes, it's Big Trouble in Little China, which for me is a joy, as always it is to watch whenever I go back to visit it. What's amazing, I think that what a lot of you may have missed is how ahead of its time that this movie is. Made on what is quite a low shoestring budget, and it's, John Carpenter does a lot of movies with recurring casts. Kurt Russell had by this time appeared in several of his other movies together anyway, like Alex said, Escape from New York. He'd already done The Thing. So yeah, there's already a pre-existing relationship with it. But the way I say that this movie is a groundbreaking movie is that it was the first woke action movie, because there is really no cultural misappropriation in this movie. It is actually all in genuine and authentic Asian American, and the only blowhard in it, and he's more of a psychic character, is Kurt Russell's character, to be honest with you. He's the dolt of it, although you expect him in the poster to be front and center as the hero. He's actually the sidekick. It is done like a sort of Western to a certain degree, because he plays a very John Wayne type character. The way he delivers the lines is very centered around that. But if anything, he's the butt of the joke, and it is the first woke action movie to a certain degree. So yeah, you have female empowerment in it. You have genuine, authentic Asian American characters and a mythology to it. And yeah, it's a fun story and highly enjoyable. And I'll leave that as the opening salvo.
Thanks for that, Beef. Let's move over to, we've got three remaining now. We'll go to the man in the hat. That's you, Brian, by the way.
Oh, it is? I thought it was somebody else in the hat.
Well, there you go. We know why he's wearing the hat. He's had a bad haircut and he's show anybody.
Yeah.
I don't mind having the hat off, but I just like wearing it. It's cool.
Anyway,
but,
you'll go, Brian.
Okay, Big Trouble in Little China. I absolutely love this film. I mean, well, firstly, I love I love John Carpenter films in general. I was introduced to John Carpenter's films by a very close friend of mine, and I've been in love with his movies ever since. I think he's probably my favorite director for horror films. And whatever he makes and does is just the best, in my opinion. Now with this movie with Kurt Russell, I think it's his third film working with John Carpenter. So, but yeah, this movie is just absolutely amazing. I think because Kurt Russell just makes the movie in my opinion. So with the story is just great. It's just like to me, it feels like an action comedy in a sense. And I mean, there's only one scene in that movie I think looked a little bizarre and crazy, but I'll get into that later. But yeah, the Big Trouble in Little China, I just love. I honestly don't really have any words that I could describe anymore about this film because it's just 100% absolutely gold and amazing.
Right. So if you've got no more words to describe it for later on, shall I miss you out, Brian?
What?
I'm only pulling your leg.
No, you're not.
Ah, yeah. Right. We'll go to one of our newest members, Graham, who lives in Scotland. Would you like to introduce yourself, Graham?
Oh, I'm walking. Yes? I will do. Thank you very much. Well, if you don't remember me, I'm the big bald guy from up north.
I'll be providing sign language translation again.
He's been on the whiskey.
In case anyone of our viewers actually don't understand the accent.
Indeed. Yeah, so, yeah, guys, it's good to be back. So, excellent. Big Trouble in Little China. This is one of these movies I always pop in at least once a year. As Lee alluded to, obviously no a great financial box office success at the time of its release, but like many movies for the 80s, the underground culture has redeemed it, so you can't really grumble there. Kurt Russell was Jack Bauer, funny, wisecracking, and just your typical, like as Beef alluded to, I liked a Western at the time, you know, and he is actually the sidekick to is it Wang?
Yeah, Wang.
Yeah, Wang. Yeah, Wang Chu or Wang Chai. How the hell that's pronounced?
Did you just say Jack Bauer?
Yeah, that's the character name.
It's not Jack Bauer.
Jack Burton.
Oh, for God's sake! I'm sorry. My apologies, folks. I'm eating pizza, so I thought we were doing a Ninja Turtles movie, but I
Jack Bauer's from Jack Bauer's from.
Yeah, okay. Jack Burton. My apologies. Yeah, the truck driver Jack Burton. See what happened? You much so much shit. Oh, this thing molded into one. But anyway, Kim Cattrall. Yeah, she was fine before she got mixed up with the Sex and the City Tarts. I mean, you know, it was what it was. She was in her youth here, and she played a decent role. The Chinese American actors, brilliant. I love the mythology Not just that, you also had the origins of some of the, shall we say, 6 years ahead of its time of the Mortal Kombat characters with Thunder, Rain, and Lightning, obviously, which would later become Raiden, and obviously David Opan. Well, there you go. It's just Shang Tsung before it was Shang Tsung, really, wasn't it? So, an interesting take there. This is one of James Cameron's during his golden age of the early to mid 80s, and yeah, it's really, really good. And
did you just say James Cameron?
Did I say who?
Did you just say James Cameron?
Yeah,
Oh,
you
sorry.
just said James Cameron.
John Carpenter. Fucking hell, I'm having a nightmare tonight, man. I'm having a nightmare. I apologise.
3 strikes and you're out.
One man, the big mute, but you can tell I've not been drinking yet. I don't make much sense, folks. But yeah, John Carpenter, obviously, you know, The Thing, Escape to New York, Escape from LA, They Live. He's less in the 80s, which is phenomenal. And I'm going to get back to my pizza now before I say something else and I get booted out of this call. Hopefully I'll make more sense when the round table starts. Thank you, folks.
See, Grim never made sense back in the past, and he still doesn't make sense anymore. Yeah.
And that's with the present, so yeah.
Right, we'll move over to Ethan now, who's up in sunny Scotland as well. Over to Ethan.
Guys, thanks, guys. Yeah, I freaking love this movie. It's one of the best movies ever to me. It still holds up. I've watched it hundreds of times. First time I watched this was probably back in the early 90s with my dad, and we always did this thing where my mum would go to work and my dad would be up watching all these great films, and you say, come on, watch this movie. And this was one of the movies. He said, Ethan, you've got to watch this film with me. And it was just a father and son thing. And I just fell in love with it. I've always loved the Chinese mythology and culture and stuff. You know, the legends, myths, culture, martial arts and stuff, dark magic and stuff, stories. But yeah, this is probably my favorite John Carpenter film. It's up there next to Escape from New York and The Thing. Those are my 3 favorites, but this is my favorite because it's just brilliant. And yeah, Beefhead, thanks for pointing that out, because I was going to say it is ahead of its time. Not a lot of people realize that, but the effects still hold up. The effects are still really good. I mean, yes, it's an old film now, but I think the effects still hold up. You know, the lightning effects from the 3 storms, the big green explosions and stuff, and everything else and stuff. And the designs for the monsters are great. You know, with the sort of creature that looks like from Doom, the Watcher. The Watcher, is it called? With the eyeballs, the little fat thing? And you've got the orangutan monster. But no, everything about this is great. Kurt Russell, as you said, he's just a dolt in it. You know, you think he's the hero, but really he is. Wang's the real hero. Wang and Egg Shen are the real heroes. But he's just so good as Burton. And they're all great, the actors. And yeah, even Kim Cattrall before that other show, which we won't go into. But she was good in this. Egg Shen, the actor who plays Egg Shen's great. And I've got to point him out. I'm going to point him out. Lopan, James Hong as Lopan is freaking awesome in this. I remember watching this as a kid, and it's when he first came on, that look, he terrified the crap out of me. And then it's the second appearance where he goes through the wall. I thought, this is the best fucking villain ever. I love him. He's great. And you probably knew I was going to point this out. If they did an Iron Man film in the 80s, this guy would be perfect as the Mandarin. He basically is the Mandarin. I don't know what it is about the Mandarin and this guy. I just love these villains. They're just amazing bad guys to me. You know, they've got great stories, and I love how they pose as businessmen, but they're actually sorcerers. Lo Pan is. Mandarin isn't really. It's just rings, but it's similar things. And I love their ideologies and what their beliefs are in, like, codes of honor, even though they're quite twisted. But they're great villains. I mean, this guy, James Hong, as I said, he's one of these character actors. He's been in Blade Runner. What else has he been in? Chuck. Loads of things. He's done loads of stuff. Kung Fu Panda. like, he's just one of these bad guys that stands out. But yeah, amazing movie, and it still holds up to me. And this just takes me back as a kid. Great music, great theme song by the Coupe de Villes. Was it Coupe de Villes? Yeah, Coupe de Villes. Great song. So yeah, those are my opening thoughts to what's still one of the best movies ever to me. Over to you.
Of course, Coupe de Ville is John Carpenter's band anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. This is John Carpenter's first Hollywood-backed movie, and he was so disappointed with the way it was made and it was treated and the success of it. He went back to making independent movies after this because he was so disheartened with it. He wanted a big major star to be in the role. He was looking at Clint Eastwood. He was looking at Jack Nicholson. But they were both busy at the time. So third person on the list, Kurt Russell, which he'd worked with before, of course. Yeah, it's not dated. I don't think it's dated, as it's been pointed out. The effects are still stand up today. The story is still enjoyable. The acting is as corny as ever. But hey, it's a John Carpenter movie. What do you expect? Kim Cattrall is Kim Cattrall. You know, any movie she plays herself.
I'll take her in this here flimming Mannequin any day.
Yep, Mannequin was just a year later.
Yeah.
But I agree that all the myths and legends of all this, and that as you say, the powers of the storms, and it's a good story. And as it's been pointed out, I think Beefhead pointed out earlier, that Kurt Russell isn't the lead hero in this. It's all done to Wang, or yep. Wang. Yeah. Wang. He's the hero of the movie, but sort of Jack Burton.
You know we done it.
The credit for most of it, but it's always it's Wang what gets him out of all the trouble, which is the enjoyable part of the movie. For me, is he's seeing how inept Russell's character is, and watching all the other guys getting him out with it. It's brilliant. Yeah.
Wang is essentially his penny to his Inspector Gadget.
Yeah.
Wang has a conscience. You have to remember that Jack Burton.
Great reference there. Love it.
Wang is the moral compass in this, whereas Jack Burton is. See, I got it right. Is just. He's an accidental hero. He's there just as a victim of circumstance. He's like every guy who you met in a bar who's been there, done something, and has an opinion on everything. Which is why you hear him on the CB radio, just going on with his armchair psychology on a way of life. And he's only interested in what's in front of him. He only wants to get his truck back at the end of the day. So he happens into a street fight between the Tongs. His truck goes missing. And basically all he's interested in doing is getting the money he won gambling from Wang at the start and getting his truck back. And it's just like, well, he's just got to make the most of the situation that he's in. And that's how it works out. He's purely driven by his own motives, but ends up being an accidental accomplice to everything that goes on.
That's true. So while you're on mic then, Beef, what's your thing you like about this movie, or things?
I do, like Graham said, and like the other guys have said, it's the three storms are fantastic, and if you actually go through, the actual cast as well, the cast that is beyond this, you've got the fight scenes between the Tongs and everything like that. It's choreographed by proper exponents of cinema and martial arts that have come from China, doing stuff in America as well. A lot of the weaponry that was designed is authentic, and it's stuff that in some cases was done specifically for the movie. I need to check the names because I'm not sort of great on it, but you've got there's two guys specifically. Al Leong, which is one of the Hatchet Man. He's got the bald head and the long beard.
Yep.
He shows up as a bit part player in so many movies through the years. And Gerald Okamura, who's a very famous weapons maker in the martial arts world. So if you have a look at it, the actual martial arts work is amazing, to be honest with you. It's really well done and well staged. And I do, you know, Egg Shen is fantastic, to be honest with you. He's a brilliant character that, you know, and the same way as, you know, you've got these two opposing sorcerers, and as much as they're steeped in classic opposing sides of the same coin, there's still this fantastic sort of humor that comes from both of them. They're both really funny. As much as James Wong's character is really sort of terrifying with his sort of, he has this unblinking stare, the very sort of Fu Manchu-esque long beard, and the elaborate headdress and everything like that. You know, you do have a sort of sense of humor behind everything to it, and you know, you can't help but not like the sort of the three storms, to be honest with you. I like that. You know, Jack Burton alludes to it in the final bit, you know, where the pillars of heaven are shaking and the thunder and the storm and the lightning is coming down and everything like that. There's so many clever nods to it. There's always little inserts of inbuilt sort of gags and nods to it that John Carpenter puts in a lot of his movies as well. So that's it. The supporting cast is as strong as the main cast, and as much as you have the traditional aspect to it as well, you've got characters like Eddie, who's sort of like more of a modern turning Chinese guy who sort of, you know, he speaks more with an American accent. Wang's more of a modern character as well, so you can't say it's just like, oh well, it's, you know, not being, you know, it's not trying to play to a lowest common denominator of, oh, it's Chinese, it's martial arts and everything like that. There's still a very modern forward way of going to it as well. So I do, it's a very, very cleverly put together film. Although we're saying that the special effects hold up, this was due to be coming out, and it's a movie centered around the sort of mystic and the Eastern aspects to it. And when it was tabled to be released, they that Golden Child was said to be in production at the same time. So the post-production on this was rushed through really quickly, I think in about 4 months, to make sure this film came out ahead of Golden Child. And like Lee said as well, you know, John Carpenter went back into doing independent movies after this because he was so disappointed that they just did no marketing on it. And thankfully, you know, the home video market became such a thing that it was in the 80s, that this has gained such a massive, you know, cult audience, cult following, and it does, to be honest with you. It still lives on now, to the point it's like where I think Quentin Tarantino has Jack Burton's shirt framed up on the wall, I think in Death Proof. So it's one of those things that it has had a lasting impact on what you could say the great auteur filmmakers of today.
Yeah.
How clever I sound.
Yes, that's after one whiskey.
Imagine me after 10.
I mean, he may not be a commercially successful director and writer, but I mean, when you think about all the movies that he's done, Escape from New York and Big Trouble in Little China and Assault on...
Put him to a sense of like people like him, like George Romero and everything like that. There were this school of people who, you know, you can look at ones like George Lucas and, Steven Spielberg, all of them that came out of UCLA and, you know, Coppola and everything like that, who came through that school and everything like that. But there are these sort of guys who are self-taught, self-made, and sort of, you know, necessity is the mother of invention. You know, because he was writing, making, directing, he ended up doing the music for so many of his own films. You just get this idea that there is a sort of a great weight behind it. Although he didn't write this story, you know, he made the music, he directed it and put it all together. And it does. Visually, it's a massively impactful and memorable film.
Right. And he also did Halloween as well. So, I mean, he may not be commercially successful, but when you think about it, I mean, he is, you know, as Beef has said, he's done tons of his own work, and that's actually very good. Yeah.
It stands the test of time, and it's
Right,
memorable,
no.
and he's remembered more than other people, you could say.
He's not. Yeah, he's very influential nowadays. People look to him for what he's done in his work, for what they're doing in theirs.
Right, and he actually is one of the, if I may say this, he may have actually helped the B movie genre continue as well. But I mean, he's done better movies than that as well. So just because he isn't rich, because he hasn't done a blockbuster, but when we mention the movies, anybody who's a film buff knows who he is.
I don't think you could connotate box office failure to not being able to pay the rent every month. I don't think he's poor, Alex. It's just
No, he's not poor, right? But he's not a big name. But the movies that he's done are very influential. Like we just met Halloween, saw them Precinct 13.
He's not a big name in terms of major movie studios, but it depends what aspects of the motion picture industry you're looking at.
Mm-hmm. True. That's true. Let's go to. There's several of us on mic, so we'll go to Graham.
Beef's already covered a lot of the things that I enjoyed about the movie. You know, that he's alluded to the free storms, the stunt work, the choreography. I had one minor gripe about this movie, and it stems from the fact about, especially what Ethan was talking about, and yourself, Lee. You have this great villain, these businessmen like who are actually sorcerers, and he's absolutely superb in the whole movie. How is he taking it? A blade to the freaking head. A blade to the head. What? Now, I know it's 80s, I know it's camp, I know it's cheese, but I was expecting a better, way of disposing of your lead villain than a blade to the forehead. I mean...
You expected a Bond-esque.
Well,
ending.
yeah, basically, yeah, he deserved it. There's that type of villain, man. I mean... That's my only minor gripe, plus the fact they obviously planned for a sequel for this thing at the end with the monster under the truck and nothing ever came of it. But they've done that with Mac and Me as well, so that's the 80s for you. Prematurely assuming you're getting a sequel.
Well, yeah. Well, we supposedly are getting a sequel or a reboot or something.
Something like that with Dwayne Johnson or something.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, that's been on the table for like 5 years and nothing's came out, so we'll see.
Yeah. Right. You're on mic, Ethan. Over to you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the three storms have already been pointed out. I mean, what great characters. They don't say much, but they're just... As I think it was Graham who pointed this out, if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, you know this is the inspiration for Raiden. The lightning and the stuff. Mm-hmm. That was just great. Thunder becoming this big thing and blowing up. They're great. The choreography and the martial arts, as a practitioner myself of the martial arts, this is perfect. It's brilliant. And it's so good. As I've already mentioned, one of my favorite moments was the introduction of Lo Pan. That's just such a great introduction and just terrifying as hell with this unblinking look. And they always seem to have, the Chinese and Japanese have always seemed to get scary ghost-like people perfect. Just creepy. And the other favorite bit I've already pointed out was his second appearance, which actually the whole bit with Wang and Burton breaking into the building, and that whole bit was brilliant and just so funny. Even like when Thunder whacks off Burton and he flies into the wheelchair, flies backwards.
Careful how you phrase that, you might get some viewers excited.
That's just brilliant.
I know, I'm having to be careful when I say Wang.
Yeah. When he just goes on the wheelchair and flies backwards. That's hilarious. And speaking of wheelchairs, like the whole bit with David, the David Lopan disguise of the villain, you can't be Lopan, we're looking for Lopan. And as Beef said, he's just so funny. It's that bit like on these friends of yours, this pisses me off to no end. Yeah, he's just so funny. But even the second appearance of Lopan, what a great scene and music when he turns into his real form and he stands up and just floats through the wall, and that bit that was the bit I thought, my God, this is one of the best bad guys I've ever seen. And that's a great scene where he's like with Mao Ying and he can't touch her, and because he's so ghost-like, and that's very good scene. The whole final showdown, one of my favorite showdowns of all time. Everything about that, the setting and how it looked with the skull head and the big sort of Buddha thing, whatever it was. That's just great. Absolutely fantastic. And the battle between Lo Pan and Egg Shen, you never could beat me, Egg Shen, where they do the sort of Dragon Ball Z-esque energy beams, like choo, choo, and it's sort of
it's a wonderful mix of what you would expect to be like the giant skull and everything like that. It's what you would say is traditionalist mixed with very much neon 80s, but it works.
Yeah.
It works. In one way you could say, oh, it's completely tasteless and gaudy, but you know what? It does work.
It does, and it's just bloody brilliant. It's just such a classic, just such a stylish look. And just, as you said, again, I always laugh when they've got the beams, and they've got the two guys going, and it cuts to Lo Pan, and he does this thing, he's like that, and he does this, with his thumbs going, I'm like, what's he doing? He's like playing a console. And I thought maybe it's a ninja like playing a video game. It's just so funny. But no, and yeah, Graham pointed this out. You think
sorry, Ethan, that isn't really a video game. It's Japanese or excuse me, it's Asian hand magic.
Oh,
okay.
It's just the way he's got it look and how he plays it, like with the joysticks and stuff.
Right, but it is hand magic. You know that. You watch anime.
Yeah. But it's just like a little in joke there. But it is. But no, it's a very... the one bit, as you said, you'd think a great villain like that would get a big death.
Wait to the...
I mean, it is funny. It is funny because...
No, it's funny,
Burton being the accidental hero.
Yeah.
Right,
it's not as if he meant it. It's as if he caught him and went, what, you throwing that at me, all right? And you're like, what? Oh, didn't mean to do that. Oh, shit. Yeah, you know, yeah.
But no, it's those are my favourite moments. I mean, just great. Oh, the one little bit I forgot to mention was how the film opens up with Egg Shen and like, oh, yeah, magic doesn't exist. Yeah. Oh, you don't believe me? Sets it up. I mean, it's a little scene, but there's something about that I quite like. It's one of those where you think, perfect. It opens up the film. What's this about?
It's reminiscent of Robin Williams as the market seller at the beginning of Aladdin, you know.
Although that was only added at the request of the producers because they wanted to like bookend it for some reason and everything like that. Originally, I think John Carpenter wanted to open it with just Jack arriving in San Francisco, but that scene was added at the start to sort of try and give it some sort of context.
Okay.
But in still, it's good though because it sort of sets up that you have the idea that you are going to have this sort of experience that you cannot really come away from and really provide a great explanation to, except for why 3 city blocks has just been destroyed in a green haze.
It's sort of like one of those things where it's sort of. Yeah, you've got the lightning bit. So you get there's something fantastical coming. But it's sort of slow. It starts off like very grounded, very gritty, and it slowly builds up to a big fantasy explosion. And it's a nice build-up. It's a great build-up to this typical battle. And it's just, those are my favourite moments. So,
I mean, it's beef alluded to. Explain how 3 blocks disappeared in a mist of green haze, you know? I mean, I know Frisco's a rocking town, but not that rocking. I mean,
it's average Saturday night for me, like I say.
Well, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I never, I never drink more and review movies faster than I can think. After 6 whiskies, it's all in the reflex.
There you go. Yeah.
But anyway, over to you guys.
Okay, we'll go to the Boston love seat.
Oh, aye.
All right, so this. All right, here you set up first. You get to talk.
Oh, very funny. I mean, this is like I said, this is a fun. It is put together quickly and all that, but you got great characters in it. I mean, you still have people imitating this movie to this day. You still have, it reminds me of even some TV shows that For all I know, maybe the stars of martial law or Jackie Chan or whatever, you know, they may have imitated this, or this movie imitated them, or whatever. It's got, you know, that's fun. It's fun to watch a movie, especially an action movie with, you know, tons of characters, tons of action. You've got martial arts. Most people do like that. So, and, you know, he's just so, oh, well, Jack, I always say it. I don't know if anybody, you know, said to him in the movie, you know, shut up. We don't care what Jack, but I, you know, that is funny when he's there and the person says, who? Me. You know, so, I mean, you know, it's you know, it's one of those fun movies. It's one of those movies that John Carpenter makes that you go, okay, you know, I'm glad I saw this movie. I'm glad I'm having fun with it. And that's, you know, that's also good. Not everything has to be a masterpiece. But, you know, it is a good, fun movie. And a lot of the movies that he makes, I know a lot of people love this movie. They love Escape from New York. They love it.
So the thing that I was going to say is the script in this is fantastic. I mean, the lines are amazing. Not only is the you know, the magic and everything else like delineated beautifully, Jack's lines are just a hoot, an absolute hoot. Like, it's all in the reflexes, and that whole opening monologue where he's going down the road talking on a CV, and so that just his he's got the most amazing lines anyway, and so I liked that, and yeah, it was rich. It was really, really fun to see the storms dying off. It was like they had them. That was really crazy, and the fight scene was just wonderful, and yeah, so I enjoyed it. The green smoke, I mean, some of that took out places that I've spent a great deal of time in San Francisco. My sister and my brother-in-law live there, so I recognize this, and I can't believe what they've done to my city anyway. Or I'm sorry, it's called the city because like there's no other city but San Francisco to the people who live there. Anyway, fun stuff.
Right.
Back over to you, Lee.
I may regret this, but were you partaking in any green smoke by any chance, by any time while you were there?
Come on, it's Stephen you're talking about.
Yeah. I haven't been to Frisco, so you know.
He's a self-confessed hippie, so. Right, now we'll take. Hello, Brian. Yes, we're talking to you now, Brian.
The son of David Lopan speaks.
Yeah, there you go.
Hello, everybody. I'm back.
Where have you been, Brian? We've missed you.
He said previously.
Brian, who's your favourite character?
Yeah, go on, Brian. Over to you.
Who's my favorite character? You say it's Kurt Russell. Obviously,
He's not a character. He's an actor. Try again.
I know, but like his character though, he's awesome in everything that he does.
What do you like about him in this one? What do you like about Jack Burton?
He's just a badass.
What do you like about Wang?
Wang! That's a Wang!
Okay, what about Egg Chen?
He preferred an omelette.
What's your favourite bit, Brian?
I got 3.
Okay, give
Okay,
us 2.
let's start with 3.
3, 2, 1.
Okay. The first favorite, it would have to be towards like the beginning when they're in the truck, like in the alley and everything, and the three
storms show up. Yeah.
Yeah, the 3 storms. Yeah, show up.
What's your second?
Okay. My second favorite would have to be the little fight at the end where they have the whole get together and they fight like Lopan and his troops, and then because honestly, like actually, it does feel like a Mortal Kombat game from what like a few of you guys were saying. So it was a cool little feel of what a cool little feel to that, and I honestly like that scene.
And what's your third?
My third and final one
One.
would be the killing of Lopan.
That was utter shit and dog shit. You know it was.
Right, you don't like that?
No, not the way it was done. No.
Because I mean, he just throws the knife, and then Jack just catches the knife and just throws it back at him, and
I think it was worthy of a better death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a cool throw. And
No, it was cool for a gag, but you'd expect him to get back up and keep fighting. I mean, my God, he's supposed to be this all-powerful sorcerer.
He's a centuries-old sorcerer. Took on an army and a
But to a certain degree, I will give it its use. It does sort of make sense because for the whole time he's been non-corporeal for the rest of the time. So he has gained that. He has this false bravado, and now he has become solid.
Right.
He's actually forgotten now that he is solid. So just makes a very simple mistake to a certain degree. And just backfires upon him. Whereas Thunder's death is just like the
exploding gag, yeah.
Oh, that was
big
good.
and
That
fat
was
and
fun.
yeah.
That was a brilliant.
And
Hosing the up, yeah.
And
that's what I was gonna get to
that's what I'm
next.
cutting off, Brian.
That's what I was gonna get to next.
Yeah, that gold.
Within that scene, when I said I thought that there was a scene that was weird and bizarre, and that was the effect and death that was a little weird because he just throws out, expands, and then explodes. It was just weird.
It's an honor death.
Yeah.
But then again, it does feel like a John Carpenter thing.
He was full of cabbage.
Oh yeah, hot air.
I prefer chocolate cake, but you know.
Seaweed.
The way that this movie ends,
More
like how he
authentic.
goes driving off in his truck and you see a monster hand coming out of the back of the truck, it ends on a cliffhanger from what John Carpenter is mostly best known for, because at the end of each movie that he does, it ends on a cliffhanger, which I absolutely love, again, because John Carpenter is just phenomenal and to me one of the best directors of all time. And
Yeah, he's 10 times better than James Cameron.
Yes,
but-
I agree.
No, what I'm saying is like he's the best within a horror director.
Fuck you, Avatar. Yeah. Yeah.
So, Brian, well, I was going to say, Brian, what would you give this movie then out of 10? If you was scoring it, which you are doing, of course.
I would probably give Big Trouble in Little China a 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. Not a bad score.
That's one snowman. Okay.
Before I go to the rest of the score, there is one scene it always sticks in my mind. It makes me giggle. Is the scene where Kurt Russell has been he's acting his socks off, but he's got lipstick all over his mouth.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Trying to look tough.
That just makes just makes me smile every time. That is so well.
Jack Burton, me with the lipstick.
That is just so well done.
Just one wee minor point before we go into the rest of the scores. Like, does anybody else feel that younger David Lopan has an eerie resemblance to Ming the Merciless, but with hair? Just saying.
I think Ming the Merciless was sort of, to a certain degree, based on that and Fu Manchu. So that's probably why there's a tie into it.
Yeah.
And one little thing I was going to point out was 86 it came out, so 7, 8, 9, 90. 4 years later, the Mandarin, funny enough, in the Iron Man comics, actually does get basically the same look as Lo Pan, because he's been through different changes. But I remember the first time I read Iron Man comics, I thought, well, he looks like Lo Pan. He does get the hat and the long robe, and there's a shot sometimes where he has a very similar look.
So you say this movie influenced Marvel Comics, also influenced Ed Boon with the Mortal Kombat.
Mm-hmm.
And Quentin Tarantino.
Quentin Tarantino, yeah.
See? Not bad from the independent filmmaker, bitches. Yeah.
And Kurt Russell is in a lot of Quentin Tarantino movies.
Yeah, he is.
I was going to say,
For that reason.
to quote Egg Shen, everything starts from small.
And talking of everything starts from small.
Who told you about that? Yeah.
What would you give it out of 10?
Well, what would I get you? I'll give it a 9. I really enjoy this. As I say, I watch it once a year and it still stands the test of time. Bugger it. 9 out of 10 for me.
It's got Ethan.
I'm going to give it 10 out of 10 golden Chinese dragons.
Well, we're going higher. We're going higher. Beef.
Well, as you know, I'm a man of few words.
What?
Have a drink. Yeah.
There is something special about this film. There is something as well, with what happens with having a great story. And I put the horror films to one side with this because he can cross genres, I think is the best way to describe it. And because I love this, and I love if anyone else has ever seen John Carpenter's Vampires, which is a film that he did in the 90s.
James Woods, great movie. Very
good film.
Yeah, when you get past the Halloween stuff, which is what every fanboy goes to. I'm sorry whether you like Halloween, that's great and everything like that, but there is more to John Carpenter. And I think as much as you have the dramatic aspect to it, this film is fantastically funny. Because he has this amazing thing that you would see in this film is where the joke runs that little bit too long, where it's sort of like people look a bit awkward, and that's what makes it so funny. Because you have the fantastic bit where you've got them in the lift after they've imbued something to give them strength and confidence. It's like, you feeling good? Yeah, I'm feeling good.
Yeah, that was great.
I'm cool, man. Yeah.
And that is a brilliant lift scene that you think is just like a filler scene, but it works amazingly well. The bits where all the Buddhas start knocking over in domino effect around the room, and they're sort of like, when's this going to stop? And they're sort of like, there's such, as much as the story is tremendous, the action scenes are great. It's a brilliant mix of classic and neo. So you could say it's neo-modern.
There you go.
To be honest with you, because you have traditional weapons as well as guns and everything like that. You have great explosions. The humor is fantastic. So I have to give it a 9 out of 10. It is, I think, if anything is truly worthy of the dub as a cult favorite, this does, because you can pick it up. You don't have to have watched anything else, and you can just watch it and enjoy the living damn hell out of it, and you will not go away disappointed and thinking, oh, do you know what, that was a waste of time, or I got nothing out of it. If you don't enjoy this movie, you're dead inside, and there's no hope for you.
Yeah.
Let's think of a Beefhead.
Anyway, it was a 9 out of 10. Sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
Susan and Alex.
All right. Well, since I have the mic, I'll start. This is enjoyable. It's really, really, really super natural and super fun, and I'm glad we did this. And I will give this a 9 out of 10, and in agreement with the other guys on this cast. And here's Alex.
Well, like I said, I mean, my family sort of likes this movie, even though they like Escape from New York and The Fog, and They Live. Like my half brothers, they love that movie. So, like I said, he does movies that a lot of people like and a lot of people remember, and that's also a filmmaker's job as well. You don't have to be, a billionaire to do that. I'm going to give this an 8. I also forgot. I mentioned it last week, ironically enough. He did the screenplay for The Eyes of Laura Mars. So that's kind of an interesting callback there. That he can do, he can do a lot of stuff. He can do silly. He can do serious. and that's good. So he may not be rich, but he's a jack of all trades and a director that helps inspire other people, and people love his movies.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. I'm going to give it an 8, but like I said, I like the other movies as well. And like Lee said, and even Beef said, he sort of inspired pop culture as well.
True, very true.
Back over to you, Lee.
Thank you. Yeah, it's enjoyable. If you, as Beef said, if you don't come out at the end of this movie sitting thinking, I really enjoyed that, there is something wrong with you. It's
go to your doctor and get checked.
It's 80s. It's got 80s all of it. Yeah, you've got an 80s skull set design in neon tubing, very 80s. You've got action, you've got magic, you've got fight scenes, comedy. What isn't there to love about this? You say you've all given it 9. I'm going the full hog here. I'm giving it a 10.
Whoa!
Hey, nice one.
Because it's just an enjoyable movie. And by the end of it, I was sat there smelling my head off. I thought, it was good to pop this in the player and watch it again. It's good to dust down these sort of movies and just rewatch them.
And from a heterosexual perspective, I've got to say, one of the redeeming points of this is back when Kim Cattrall was hot. Sorry, I remember Turk 182. I remember Mannequin. I remember Police Academy. Yeah. This was her golden era for me.
Yes, I agree.
Until HBO got to admit something, but there we go. Yeah, no, that's it about it.
We won't go there.
It's when Kurt Russell was hot as well.
There you go.
Well, there you go. Yeah. We cater for everyone on these casts.
It's an all-you-can-eat buffet.
Don't forget that she was in Porky's, and don't forget that she was in an episode of The Incredible Hulk as well.
Oh,
she was.
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the guys from MST3K like her as well.
I bet they do.
Well, if you get their seal of approval, you're sold for a life, then, aren't you?
But I agree with Lee. Kurt Russell's pretty hot in this one.
I could not possibly comment, but fair play if that's your bad.
But Brian thinks Egg Chen is like hot AF.
I thought Egg Chen was the type of omelet until I watched this back. There you go.
Oh my.
Well, thank you guys for talking about Trouble in Little China.
Yes.
Wait, are they making a sequel of this?
Let's not go there. All right.
No. It's the same way that you'll get the same version of The Princess Bride coming out in.
Yeah, exactly. Minus Peter Falk and
It
Fred
ain't
Savage.
gonna happen.
You talked about this, Brian, when you was on your phone.
Can I just say I'm in no rush to see Big Rock in Little China. So yeah.
Big Rock in Little China.
Oh, I was just double checking.
Yeah,
and don't Google that.
He can do Jumanji all he wants, but stay out of Little China.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Do not, for anyone who may be watching, do not Google Big Rock in Little China.
Yeah, don't.
And if you do, delete your internet history when you're done. Yeah.
Well, can I say, it's always a pleasure to have people joining us on a Saturday talking about stuff we love, be it old movies, TV, audio dramas. Please, if you want to join us.
We're always looking for more people that we can be found on all social media. There's Geeks Assembled on Facebook. You'll find Geeks Assembled on Twitter. If you've enjoyed this video or have a differing opinion or perhaps a different insight to the members of it, please get involved. You can come on and actually make this opinion known. You could tell me that I just go on and talk too much, and leave a comment down below.
Yes.
If you have enjoyed this and would like to perhaps see more of me and Lee and Susan and Alex and Ethan and Brian looking at his phone, you could perhaps subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's up there at the top. It's the little red rectangle that says subscribe. Don't forget to click the little notification bell so it will alert you when there's more reviews in place as well. And I will let Lee continue.
I think you've covered everything, Beef.
You know what? He does it to me every time. Anyway, Thanks, guys, for joining us, and thank you out there for watching. And until next time, we'll be seeing you.
David Lopance now. Oh God.
Every time.
You just had to get one in there, didn't you? Oh man.